So this is a pile of cherry wood that I got while we were up at camp this summer. My brother-in-law helped me get it. I explained to him that I was carving spoons and needed some wood, and while some of these are really pretty big, this one, the diameter of it is more along what I've been carving. Not to say that the other ones aren't useful, because I'll definitely use them. I even want to try to get into carving some cups this winter. But this is cherry wood. It's very hard, as evidenced in some of my videos about trying to carve it. But that's my little pile, and hopefully that'll keep me busy all winter with the carving. And what I have over here is, when I got a log, what I did was I used my beat up pearl axe. I've had this, oh my god, since I was 20 maybe. It's in pretty sad shape. But before I got into this bushcraft stuff, I simply used it to cut logs, split up logs for my bonfire. And so now what I do is I use it to split one of my cherry logs. So this was one of the logs from my pile over there. And I put the axe in there and hit it with the hammer until it split. And then, as you can see, it's a curved piece, which I personally like because I think it makes the spoons have some kind of a different character. And then I rough draw the shape of the spoon on it. And then my new way of doing this is, of course, the cheating part. I know that true bushcrafters are using their axes to rough cut, the outline. But I have my scroll saw right there. So what I do is I cut this piece right here as, down, and I put a slice right here into the base of the bowl, another slice right there, and then I can use the axe to chop off all this excess. And that gives me a rough cutout, and I'll show you what that looks like. But while I'm over here, this is also a chunk of that cherry wood, and what I tried to do with my spade bit was to get a hole started to see if I could make a cup. Since then, I've ordered these 2 gouges that I got on eBay, and it seems they may be too big for carving spoons, but I bet they might come in handy for trying a cup. So there's my chunk of wood. That's a project coming to see if I can carve that into a cup. And while I'm at it, since I forgot to show the final, that was Jayana's jewelry box that I made her. It's all done, and I only have to give it to her, and she can fill it full of whatever she wants. But there it is. Finally got it done. And so yeah, what happens is I get bored if I have to keep making the same things over and over again, so I switch it up. I might do a couple of jewelry boxes, stop, work on spoons. I'll get sick of working on spoons. Not sick of it, but you got to mix it up, because that's where I think a lot of people have a problem with these hobbies they get into, is they spend so much, exhaust so much effort on them that sometimes you forget to let them be fun, and they become too much of a chore. So that's what I do. When I realize I'm starting to not be interested, I switch to something else. Another thing that I saw that when I was splitting the wood the other day, this came off of it, and it's thin. It's about a quarter of an inch. And I thought, I'm going to do something with that. I don't know what, because it has the shape of the spoon that I'm currently working on it. So let's go on and see the rest of the spoons as they are coming along. I'm sitting here in my little entranceway. Out there, let's see, there we go, camera. Out there's my bench, and I like to sit out there, and you can see there's shavings all over the ground, or maybe you can't. I like to sit out there at night and think about stuff, and it helps to think about stuff while I'm carving my spoons. That's one of the main reasons I'm carving, well, 2 reasons I'm carving spoons. One, it's very, I find it very relaxing, and I also find them to be great gifts. Everybody thinks they're kind of unique. All right, so what I have here is an old stool. You can see I've used it for many things. I've cut it with my saw accidentally. They were here when I first moved in, and they had a price tag on them. I think they were like 20 bucks at the time. Just little pine stools, but I use them for all my projects because they're like a little portable table. So anyway, one of the things, let me set the camera down here and see if I can show you this. When I'm carving a spoon, I'd be pushing away, and then I might get to the part where the spoon kept moving off the edge, and I thought to myself, this is an accident waiting to happen. So last night I was thinking about it, and I thought to myself, I need a little thing on this stool so I could wedge the spoon in there, and it'll hold it still while I'm carving on the spots that I needed to stay still for. So I went in the garage this morning and I got a piece of wood and I just cut a rough cut spoon shape. Might even be too small. I just kind of quick did it. So here's the spoon that I currently have. Let's see if it fits. Okay, so that fits. Let me see the other one. Yeah, that fits too. I might actually, at some point I may have to widen that, but that's okay. The idea is to put this, I'm going to drill some holes in it, and I'm going to attach it right here on this stool so that it's kind of going to be like a third hand for me to hold the spoon in place while I get to those difficult areas, and I don't want it to slip. So let's see here. Put it right over there. There's a spoon right here that I'm working on, or I was working on. I'm almost done. It really needs just some sanding now. I've got it as smoothed out, I guess, as uniform as it's going to be. None of them are truly ever perfect. They all have little idiosyncrasies, which, like I said, I find them to be endearing. Anyway, here's one right here. And what I started to do was make a set, or I said I was going to do, is make a set for my son. And have all the kids. I left a thing on the end. I've started cutting them with this oval shape on the end where their names can go. Now on mine, like I said, I had to put their name down the handle, which was difficult, and I wanted to put the birthday and their name. So now I'm carving a set for my son, leaving this space up here where their name and birthday can easily be added. So that was the first one I did for him. The second one is here. Now, the way I make them basically is kind of on how big the piece of wood is that I have. I draw it out, and then if there's a little piece on the end left over, I just cut it off. But because the second one, as you can see, is a little bit longer, and it's also twisted. It's just the way it's coming out. I kind of follow the wood, and then that's when it gets its little unique features that makes each one different. Now, that one I've been working on for about 3 days now, I think. Off and on. And then here's a rough cut one. After I split the log, and then I use the scroll saw to chop off the excess. This is what I'm left with. And this is when I begin carving with the knives. So that's the 3 stages, kind of, including the piece in the garage that I showed you. Now here's a little box that I'm carrying around with me. It's just an old shoe box. And what's in here is a high carbon sharpener that I got from Jimmy the Fish. This is my stone that I've had for years and years and years and years. Now I ordered these 2 chisels, gouge chisels, off eBay. I was so excited that I won the bid, because I wanted to use these to carve out the bowls. I've had great difficulty in getting them to work. And one of the reasons is these are not, see, in my excitement to order things and whatever, I don't think things through sometimes. These are for a lathe. This is the kind of a chisel that you would, you're turning wood and you would use this on it, hence the length of it. This one is the one I've had the most success with so far, as far as getting it sharp enough to do anything with. But again, they're really kind of too big for what I want them for, so I need to get a small one. Here's my little one that I've been using for all this time. It's the old little Chinese set. Must have been six of these little different shaped chisels for, you know, $4 or $5, which I may actually go back and get more of, because it seems to be so far the best thing for me with my big pile of cotton to save me from blisters, which it doesn't really do. So, and then here of course is my Mora knife. And the other knife that I've been using is the Opano. So I put all that stuff in a box with the spoons, and then I just, if I want to go outside, I grab the box, grab the stool, and go out and sit and carve. So I thought I'd show you a little more detail of the kind of tips and things that I use to carve spoons. And like I said, this for me is very relaxing, especially sometimes when you're upset about how life is going, your finances are going. This is really a pretty cheap hobby when you think about it. And it tends to allow your mind to kind of focus on this rather than negative things that are happening to you. And then you find this pleasure as you begin to shape something that becomes, you know, not only a kind of like a work of art, but it's just so, I don't know, they're captivating to me. The feel of them, the look of them, everybody likes them that sees them. And then when you can make a gift out of them, it even adds to the whole thing. So yeah, I recommend anybody do it. It's go get yourself an Opinel knife or a Mora knife and take a walk out in the woods, find a couple of branches, bring them back, and just start going to town on it. It's really not very, you don't need much to get going on it. And I'll show you what, because I don't think I did. The set that I first made, I have them hanging from my on the mantle above my fireplace. So let me go show you what that looks like. They're hanging on the mantle in the center of my fireplace. And I like how it looks. It's, there's all 8 grandkids, so 8 spoons. They're all different sizes, different kind of shapes, and each one is unique in its own way. And I just think they're the coolest decoration. And each one, of course, I showed this before in my other video. Each one has their name in it on the handle. Now these ones didn't have birth dates because there's no room. So that's why when I made Josh's set, my son's set, I left that paddle shape oval thing on the end, because it's going to give me plenty of room to carve in their name and their birth dates. I suspect that when men use these tools, they have more hand strength. I, on the other hand, have arthritis, which is what this is. When it flares up, it's very painful. But I'm not going to let that stop me. But I think that this probably, if I had more hand strength, would be easier. But it does carve. You can hear it biting the wood. And it's slow going. And again, the awkwardness of having this camera hanging around my neck while I'm trying to do this adds to the clumsiness of this video. But this is how I pretty much used this big one here to get the majority of this bowl carved. And so yeah, it does work. But like I said, I think that I need a shorter one, especially given the problems that I have with my hands. So yeah, arthritis is very painful. It's in my knuckles of my fingers, and it's in these ones, and it hurts pretty bad. But I think if I had a shorter chisel, like a palm chisel, I think that would be less painful for me to use. So this isn't a spoon video of some rugged woodsman guy who's telling you about his years in the military and how he's fabricated spoons to eat with in the deserts of whatever. It's just a old grandmother who says that I try things because I find them interesting, and if I can do them, I think you can too. The carving on my spoon this morning, again, there's my scenery, birds everywhere. In fact, I have already seen 2 female cardinals that were at the feeder, which they're very shy. So I'm trying to see if I can entice them to come over while I'm actually sitting here. There's a variety of birds still around. Of course, that cute little hummingbird is spending the whole day again on the clothesline next to the feeder. And one of the things that's really sad is that tree right there has really changed colors, as several of them have, which is it's that denial stage that happens between August and September when you realize fall is right around the corner. In fact, Halloween's in October. So school starts next week for just about everybody. It's hard to wrap my head around. It seems that every time summer goes by, there's things you didn't get to do that you planned to do. And you say, okay, next year. But you get older and you start running out of next year's, and it makes it even sadder that you didn't do things you wanted to do this year. So I'm gonna get these spoons done and give them to my son for a gift. Who knows what my next project will be. Maybe I'll make each kid their own spoon. They would find that boring because the age that they're at, I don't think they're too thrilled with them. But it's something that looks cool on the wall in their bedroom, so I try to think of that when I'm making stuff for them. Hummingbird's back again. And it dawned on me today that only female hummingbirds have been here in the past couple of days, no males. These are all females. So that's interesting. I'll have to go Google why all the females are here and no males. Have a great day, everybody.